So this is parts um 4, I think. Yeah, 4. This one would be after a while they would be doing school stuff and all that. And they would get to lunch on one particular day. Uraraka, Ida would be there, and I'll say Dark Shadow. I don't know why he was there, but just because. And they would be talking. And that's whenever a random alarm would go off saying, "Villains have infiltrated. The students evacuate." With everybody screaming like, "There's villains here. Oh no." Running out the door, pushing each other. And if you guys are wondering, Deku did not use his One for All in that whole battle. He was just kind of showing off his other quirks ability. So that's just because on the whole physical exam he showed off one quirk, and on the battle exam he showed off his other quirk pretty much. And he hasn't showed off him combining the two quirks together, which is devastating. But yeah. So after this, Uraraka would tell Ida to we're about to get them in shape and all that. Without saying Uraraka lighting Ida and making him float instead of like hover and zero gravity spinning on purpose. That's when Deku would jump in the air, doing a backwards jumping like sideways and kicking at Ida, doing a kind of a tornado shooting him, with Ida smacking against the wall, making a loud noise because there was a piece of metal there. And you would tell all of them yelling that it's just the media, calm down, and all that. And they would calm down. That's when people in 1A would think, Ida should be the class president, and Mema should be the vice president. And I'll say Deku is a representative, because he has been shown to have different abilities and all that. But yeah, so Deku would be the representative in Class 1A. I just came up with another what if idea, but I want to ask you a question. It's going to be a vampire Deku, but what type of vampire do you want from an anime? So there's or from anywhere else, like Blood Labs. Have you guys ever watched that? Or do you guys want it kind of like JoJo's vampires, or what else was the other vampire in the bun? I forgot the name. Ben a bun. I don't know what it was. I'm pretty sure that was a romantic anime. If I do that version of it, I'll probably make him a half werewolf, because there is werewolves in it. What else? Like a normal vampire with just vampire abilities. Or if you guys have like a vampire from anime, and if it's a good anime, give me the name, please. Because, I'm over here looking for some new animes to watch, because I watched a lot of them. I watched quite a bit. Also have another what if idea. Have you guys ever heard of, it was this romance anime about Juliet and all that. It was kind of like an anime remake of the whole thing, but the difference was that they didn't die, which they almost died at the end. But I wasn't gonna make it like a whole love story. My dad just brought me some breakfast, but yeah. The idea was to make like a world like that, where people are separated into two groups, the black dogs and the white cats, I guess. And I'll just make everybody's hair color either black or reddish black, like brick black or brick red for the black dogs, and all the white cats are like all blonde, so All Might will be a white cat, and all that. But Deku would be a black dog. Like, I'll say All Might is kind of like the person from the story where he didn't really care about which clan you were. So yeah, it would just mean like a lot more fighting against gangs, kind of. And that would also mean that Deku would be the younger brother of Overall, because Overall seems like a gang type. But yeah, so that was just another one I came up with. But yeah, I'll get back into the what if. So they'd be loading a bus, and then it would just get in the bus. And we'll kind of be talking about Quartz. Rock would explain hers. And Deku would explain his, but that's when Froppy would bring up that. Deku Quartz is just like All Might's. He even does some of his smashes with his legs. People would say that. Deku explained that I was a really big fan of All Might, so as a kid I practiced all of his smashes for some reason. And whenever I got my quirk, or my enhancement quirk, I just kind of just kept on using them. But I figured out that I can only throw smashes with my legs because my legs are stronger than my arms. So they can handle more power, and it's just enough power to throw smashes. That's whenever people were asking, what about Blood Chain, you called it? What's its ability? Deku would explain that it's a mixture of both my mom and my dad's quirk. My dad's quirk was the ability to take somebody's blood, lick it, and it would paralyze somebody. My mom's quirk was a telekinesis quirk. Because of that, I had the ability to manipulate blood, and I also have the ability to paralyze somebody with their blood. They ask, how does it work? Deku would say that my father's runs off what type of blood type you are, but mine is random, he says. Saying that it has a random number of time that you'll be frozen and all that. Saying that the more blood I have, it has a better chance of getting a higher number. Deku would say that my highest time was 10 minutes. Now, because of One For All's enhancement. So yeah. That would depress them, so you can literally apprehend somebody with the lick of a blood. That's whenever they bring up the topic of why are you so strong and why is Uraraka so strong. Deku would say that since I got my quirk, my dad decided to train me to become a hero. Explaining how he trained me, and said that he mostly based off of speed, but so did I, but I did focus on my strength. And he taught us how to do parkour too. And when I said that, I got Uraraka to train with us. They live here at the USJ. With them walking out and going in. 13 giving that speech and all that. But that's when they'll get interrupted by villains. Saying we're here to kill All Might. And all that. As I would tell them to stay back, which they would. But Deku's ready to go fight. But that's whenever a portal would open up, swallowing Deku, Froppy, and what's that dude's name? Pop Off. I'll just call him Pop Off right now for now. But they'll get there. Pop Off would be scared, like, we're about to die. Because he was pulled out the water from Froppy. And Deku just swam up the water by using the reverse smash with his legs, kicking him up. But he would get up there, and Deku would come up with a plan with, Pop Off to throw his balls in it, and Froppy to swing Mineta. Oh yeah, his name's Mineta. Or for him to jump over it. That's when Deku would have pushed his arms beyond 15%. Not breaking them, but this would cause strain on his arms. He would jump up, saying Mississippi Smash, kicking the water, hitting it with enough pressure to jump off. But whenever he does this, he didn't know if he pushed his arms to 20%, this would happen. And what would happen is a huge vortex would burst out everywhere, hitting the water, doing the whole dip in the pool thing. And it would cause the whole thing to, all the water to be splashed out the sides, and the boat to be raised and put onto the shore. Mineta would jump off, so does Froppy, and Deku would explode upwards with all that force and would be flying towards the mainland. He would look around while he's flying, seeing where Zawa is. That's whenever you'd see the Nomu about to punch him, but that's when Deku would have jumped off with all his speed, with his legs pushing them to the limit, to 25%. I would say going fast enough to get there, because the Nomu, I would say, was walking slow. Then he jumped off after Deku got there. He would take his gauntlets. He would duck down because the Nomu is not aiming towards him, aiming towards Zawa. But as I would see the Nomu because of Deku, would deck out 2, with Deku reaching on his hand, using one for all, stabbing into the dude's chest to them. But Deku pulls out, thinking that he killed that one, but he would see it regenerate. But there would be blood splattered on the floor. That's when Deku would raise up his arms, saying "Pierce," stabbing into his arms. That's when Nomu going and breaking out, couldn't punch Deku. Deku would have just instantly weaved that with kind of just smashing himself into the ground to block a devastating blow. He would take his knife, or would take his hands, put it in the claw shape, grabbing onto the Nomu's lower torso or lower leg, ripping off a piece of his body, and would take the blood and would drunk it, which it would cause the Nomu to freeze. I'll say with 1-for-all enhancement, he has 5 minutes of freeze time, which would not be enough because it took All Might a while to get there, and Deku had 1-for-all earlier, almost as long as the time that he was against All for One, about that long. So he might be weaker and all that. But and also, I think it did take him a while to get there in the first place. That's whenever Deku would stab into the thing again. I'll say taking out a vial, pouring some blood, having 10 vials down, and he would sit down, resting, telling Ozawa that my quirk, judging by the time, I'll say he knows how long it'll take in his head to appear, saying that it has 5 minutes on it, saying that when those 5 minutes are about to go up, I'll tell you. If I do, I want you to cancel the Nomu's quirk, and I'm going to hit it in the chest with a cutting smash, he calls it, because he has blades on his hands, so it's a cutting smash. And then I'll drink another vial. They'll get ready with this, but that's whenever the dude with the decay quirk would notice them talking and be like, "No, stop moving," and charge at them. Hearing the whole thing about his quirk's able to stop the Nomu, and he would attack the kid. Or Ozawa would be like, "He's attacking the kid," trying to jump in the way, but Deku would have grabbed him by the wrist, because he would have seen what he did to Ozawa's arm. Would have flipped him over. And whenever he grabs his wrist, he can cut him at the same time. Cutting him and having some blood on him. And he would get back up saying, "I'm gonna kill you, kid." That's whenever you would see him lick his blades on his fingers, with him freeze and dropping to the ground. That's whenever you would walk up to him saying that you can't do nothing now. You have about 30 seconds left, but before that, stabbing his tips of his fingers into his back, which can drain blood from people. And one of his fingers would have a vial also. He just has a lot of vials on him, pretty much. He would get ready to drink it, but this is when a reporter would come, and you would see him stand up and jump into it. He would drink the thing, and got mad, using 1-for-all into it, telling him to stay down for a long time. I'll say he had it 10 minutes, so he's just flopped into the bar's room, can't move. The Nomu would start moving, and he would do a cutting smash, drink the vial again, waiting till the heroes come, and he would run out. He would tell Azawa to stay here and protect the vials while I'll go look for all the students. He would run, find Uraraka, bring them back, and tell them to stay guard here because this thing is very dangerous and we can't let anybody break these vials or it can kill one of us. They would kind of fight off some of the villains there. Heroes would come with All Might. All Might would take out Rest. And this is where I'll leave this one off. With Deku they would have a live specimen of the Nomu. And they would have to have Deku there to stop him from moving. Deku would be there, of course, for a week straight, or 2 weeks straight, just kind of reusing his quirk a lot. But I'll say, you can't just spam his quirk. He does have a cooldown, and the more times he uses it, the less time he can get. He would telling them to lock him up and stuff. They would, and yeah, they'll be dissecting him, and this is where I'll leave it off. Hope you like this. Goodbye.